You made a choice to do porn, and now when you made that choice, you knew that was going to be on the internet forever as a consequence. And now you're like, let me get the government to remove my consequence because it's not fair. They're making money and I'm not. It's just the audacity of you guys at times. I just can't. I can't. Do you think there's any issue bringing in former sex workers around men that are trying to abstain from lust?
There could be. Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see how there could be, especially if the woman is not modest in her appearance. I think that that could be a huge temptation for them. So yeah, there definitely could be.
So if I did a church and I had, now obviously this is made up, I'm not doing a church, but I'm going to give you my hypothetical and I want you to tell me if you agree or disagree. If I had a sex worker come into my church, I would say that you can come in, but you need to be in a box away from all the husbands because we can't have you. I don't want a sex workers by my boyfriend, or if I was married to my husband. Um, yeah, I would want them in a different box where they could very little interaction. And then I would, they could join the community after like 5 years of silence and service. And then maybe after then they could be fully integrated. I would also put marriage off the table because personally, I wouldn't really want the men, they don't deserve to be with women that have sex tapes on the internet that can be used against them, and their kids being involved. I just think that's something you kind of sacrifice when you make that choice. And I would say 5 years of good behavior, and then we could start to treat them normal.
I think it's a whole set of rules that are just they're pearl made rules. And Jesus did not make those rules. Jesus sat with sinners, he sat with prostitutes, he sat with tax collectors, and he invited them in with and always empowered them to go and sin no more. And so I think that that's the church's job. The church is for the sick. The church is so that people can come in, encounter Jesus, and their lives can be transformed. And so if we just kind of outcast every person that, well, we just don't like your sin because your sin
No,
could tempt my
okay,
husband.
okay.
You
What
know,
about what
what
about
about the
okay,
alcoholic? It's
okay,
like,
let
okay,
me let me continue. What about pedophiles? Should we keep them away from children?
I think that that's a different scenario.
How convenient.
Why is that convenient?
Because in a way, I mean, your porn was consumed by underage boys.
But
So,
yeah, I get what you're saying. I just think it's a totally different, I think that's
of
completely
course,
different because here's
yeah,
the deal.
it's convenient.
I'm getting if I'm sharing my story in church, it's not because I've asked to be there. It's because somebody said, our church needs to hear a story, to whether it be to humanize or just to help people to find freedom, because a lot of my church is struggling. I mostly speak to women. And so if that's the invite, but like I don't know if many people are saying let's invite the pedophile to like speak to our I
Yeah,
just don't see
because
the
because men
correlation.
are
It's
because men
entirely
are
different. I was an
no,
adult. I wasn't molesting children.
because men are held accountable for their sin and women aren't. As most of you know, I have been fighting on the front lines of the simp epidemic for years, but I need to tell you about a quiet weapon being ratcheted up against men that is rarely talked about. It's not just the relentless anti-masculinity propaganda and OnlyFans hoes causing the societal issues that we discuss on this show. Did you know that the average city's tap water contains trace pharmaceuticals and endocrine disruptors? This often includes estrogen from birth control. The average adult consumes a credit card worth of plastic every single week. That's 5 grams of plastic a week on average. So it's no wonder that the average male's testosterone is half of what the average was 50 years ago. Testosterone levels decline 1% a year, and without a course correction, we are headed towards extinction. No matter how based you are, you need to be naturally boosting your testosterone. My friends at Chalk, CHOQ.com, are on a mission to save mankind from extinction by boosting your vitality. Chalk's Male Vitality Stat contains premium and potent herbs clinically studied to naturally boost your testosterone levels, sperm count, and overall vitality. Just one of the many Ingredients in the male vitality stack was studied in double-blind human clinical trials to boost total testosterone 20% in 90 days. When you boost your testosterone, you'll have more mental clarity, you're more capable of making decisions and taking risks. Having high testosterone will also affect your pheromones, so women will find you more attractive subconsciously. Get the Chalk Male Vitality Stack right now on chalk.com. That's CHOQ.com. Use my name Pearl as your coupon code and you'll get 25% off site-wide on chalk.com. That's CHOQ.com. My name Pearl is the discount code. I mean, producing that material, a good chunk of them are guys that are underage. So I don't really see how you're that different. I really don't.
I mean, yeah, but I would
also allow them.
The problem is, here's the difference. A pedophile is willing to go and do things to a child. For me, the big difference is that the government needs to instill age verification so that we can protect children from watching these things. Just like identification is required for alcohol or for gambling or for a strip club, it should also be required for people to watch porn because the legal age to watch.
But then shouldn't there be a verification for ex-hoes? Why wouldn't we have the same standard for women that are whores, that there's some verification that they're no longer whores?
I don't understand your question.
I'm saying you want verification.
Age verification
areas. Yeah.
But show me that you're 18 if this is the kind of content you
show me that you're not a whore, I think that's fair. Show me.
I'm living it out. That life, I'm a new creation. That life is old. It's dead. It's gone.
Not really, because it's still on the internet and that lives.
And you know what? There's going to come a day where I am going to fight for some sort of a law to get that taken down, because I don't think that all these companies should be profiting off, something that I did many years ago and I've changed my life around. Why is that so funny to you?
Because women just avoid accountability at all costs. You made a choice. I gotta mute you. You made a choice to do porn, and now when you made that choice, you knew that was going to be on the internet forever as a consequence. The only consequence you faced, actually. And now you're like, let me get the government to remove my consequence because it's not fair. They're making money and I'm not. It's just the audacity of you guys at times. I just can't. I don't see how this invites people to church. I think it draws more people away.